How do you look at what is happening all across the globe, all across the companies, and figure out your strategy for digital, right? So how do you go about your journey in selecting what initiatives you want to implement, and also as a point that Manish mentioned in the initial phase was how do you link it to value. So these are two aspects that I'm going to touch upon as part of my presentation. I'll start with a little jargon or research that we've done in the recent past, which is trying to understand what is the interpretation of digital. Now digital is all about data and technology, but very clearly there is a lot of thought about what industries is digital impacting and how is it impacting. Now very clearly, even if you look at the industries that EPC companies are operating in, be it oil and gas, which was talked about, metals and mining, or even core infrastructure, there is a lot of data that these assets are generating, and that is the backbone of digital. So that's point number one. Point number two is the demographic or the people that are contributing to the industry that we are working in as part of EPC projects. That demography is also changing, right? The age profile is changing. You have a younger workforce who's going to work on ground, and their familiarity and compatibility with devices, the ability to interpret data is significantly higher than the workforce that is currently there. So that's a very, very important aspect that is also impacting why digital is getting adopted or should get adopted. The third part, and this is also very critical when we talk about value, is that the cost of technology is coming down. So whether it is sensors, whether it is infrastructure technology, even all the platforms that you want to use as a service, that cost is significantly coming down day by day. So which means that adoption of technologies is going to become easier from a cost perspective as well. And finally, what the research throws out, that digital is actually going to give you more than $14 trillion worth of money. So therefore, it has to be looked at very, very closely. So that's the first slide I want to talk about on an interpretation of digital. But very clearly, now how do we see how is digital impacting the value chain for EPC? So whether it is connected assets, as we just heard, or it's about the connected supply chain, but more importantly connected to the theme of this particular presentation is how do we link it to safety and productivity. I know it's not talked about much, but very clearly digital is a game changer there as well. Having said that, what are CEOs and CXOs talking about as part of digital? Are they ready to undertake this journey? Are they very clear and confident about what path they need to take? There, surprisingly, that the survey research throws out is everybody understands, what is available in the market, but nobody knows the answer of how to go about it and what is the puzzle that they need to solve for. And that percentage is actually as low as 7% if you only take IoT as a technology, right? So very clearly, the key messages are digital is here. There are technologies available. Cost is coming down. But we need to solve for how to undertake that journey, right? Also, let's talk about specifically for construction, which are the technologies that are impacting construction as a business or EPC as a business. We've heard a lot about analytics, we've heard about IoT, but there are also the next generation technologies that are penetrating the construction industry. We talk about robotic process automation, we talk about artificial intelligence. These are also technologies, or even blockchain, these are technologies which are going to be the frontier of change in the next generation. So it's now going to go beyond IoT, analytics, it's also going to be blockchain and AI, right? So these are things that we will need to keep in mind when we are going to chart our digital transformation journey. The next slide also talks about what are the key challenges that EPC companies are facing. And amongst these challenges, what are being talked about, which are most prominent and which need to be looked at solving for as far as digital is concerned. So we've heard about productivity and safety, but more importantly what impacts the business is on-time performance and delivering within cost. So those are the two key imperatives, but more importantly EPC is also getting impacted by working capital issues, right? And there are some elements around contracting strategies and contracting models which blockchain can help, especially impact working capital, right? So this slide largely talks about what are the challenges, and there are avenues available from digital perspective to solve them. In the EPC environment, we've already heard some of the speakers talk about some of the initiatives, but very clearly there are digital control towers being put in place to get real-time visibility or get visibility on the single version of truth as was talked about by Mr. Bhagat. We are looking at connected resources, and I'll also run a short video on how we've implemented this at one of our clients, Connected Worker. Plus, analytics is going to play a key role. So, all the data that is going to get generated, we will need to link it to value, link it to insights and decision making insights which will deliver us that value. So, there are point initiatives that EPC companies have already started implementing as part of their projects, right? That summarizes, what is digital, where are we currently, what are the challenges that we need to solve for. Now, before I move forward, I want to talk about how are other companies leveraging the digital from a transformation standpoint. So, what is their perspective on how to run digital, how to operate digital. Before I go there, I'll just run a short video. Sorry for the interruption, but so what this video will talk about is essentially what a global company has thought about. Is essentially what a global company has thought about from a digital transformation. Is essentially what a global company has thought about from a digital transformation. Is essentially what a 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 is essentially what a